All right, I just want to get down to some of the basics of how to build out your web page. I've already gone through, and these all serve as models, and then of course you know that you have this English lesson down here um, for how I might configure a whole lesson to be given to students online or completely through the Moodle. So I just want to walk you through some basics of some of the features of a web page. Almost all of these are web pages. In another forum, I'll talk about forums because they're not that hard, but I don't want to make this video too long. So generally speaking, the thing that I use the most, as you can see, are web pages. They're just the easiest thing. They accept embeddable code. You can link images. You can type, and they're the most flexible way, I think, to load up content onto your Moodle. Of course, if you find something that you like better, go for it. I'm just going to walk you through what I know that I like to use and what works for me. All right, so I'm going to compose a web page, and oh, watch it not work. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to do a test. I'm just going to call it test, MCS test. You don't have to put anything here. This is just a summary. You can put it there, but it's not necessary. Where you really need to put the work is down here. And so just like anything else, I'm just going to go through almost all the features just really quickly. I mean, again, this is a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If it looks like a link, it'll probably link. If it looks like an image, it's going to connect you to an image or a file. This is a little not so intuitive here. It should say insert link or file, but we'll let that go. You can center things, you can use bullets, numbers, you can indent, you can change your color, you can bold, all the things you basically can do in Word, and you can undo, so it's really nice. So just some real basics. I like to really structure my lessons using headings. I think that just visually that's just nice to sort of give students, kind of the overarching structure of things. So that's something that you can always use. If you always want to change your heading first, and then if you want to fill something, you can. You don't have to. I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So I just fill. It's going to fill it across, and then you're going to return, and then you might say learning objectives. I mean, this is all pretty straightforward stuff. Why doesn't it like learning? So I could go here, and then I could put bullets in, and I could return. Oops, let me put a bullet in. Apply, blah, 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 and then we can do another bullet, and then you can even move it in to do a sub-bullet. But let me just show you some other things. Oops, let me undo that so that stays. Let's just talk about some basics. First of all, you can link right to web pages. So you can I tend to like to use words to link to. If you're going to directly link to a web page, let's say you want them to go look at something on the web. So let's see, I'm just going to do, the New York Times just for giggles, right? Let's just say you want them to go to the New York Times. I'm just making this up as I go. So I'm going to get that URL onto my clipboard, and I'm going to hopefully navigate back over to this class, and I would, and you might say something like, check out the New York Times. And what you would do is you want to highlight these words, and of course you would teach your students as you're going along that something that's highlighted means, click on it. And for this, you're just going to copy that URL right, oops, perhaps not. Maybe it wasn't on my clipboard. Okay, now it's on my clipboard. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to link. It's not the complete English lesson. So there's the URL. It's always nice sometimes. It's going to be up to you how you want to manage this. I always use new windows because I want kids to pop out, and then I don't want them to lose the Moodle course. So that's just a end user friendly kind of thing to do for links and things like that. That's completely up to you. I generally do set it as a new window. So when the kids come to this, they'll be able to link on that, and it'll take them to the site. Now, let's talk about, let's bring in a picture. So let's say I'm just going to do New York Times, but I'm going to do, let's say I want to do a URL image. And so you can just go to images in Google, because there's two ways. You can either bring the file in, or you can just do the URL. So if you find an image that you like, you want to go to full size image, because this is actually the URL that you want. This is the one just sitting by itself. So if I wanted to insert this image, you know, say I want it to be above this guy. You just put your cursor where you want that image to be. You're going to insert this image. Now I'm using a URL based image, so I can just put the URL here. All right. It is always going to want you to put some kind of letter there. Don't ask me why, but it just will. I promise you. So you say okay, and bam, your image is in there. And now you can actually click on it and edit it and do everything else you would just like in a regular Word document. You can center it, all that kind of stuff. So that's how you do a URL based image. But let's say that you actually just have a file of an image that you want the kids to see. So you're going to go here, you're going to actually go and get the file. I know it does say an image. This also works for PDFs or Word documents as well. It's the same system even though it says image. It's not just an image. Pardon my app. It's driving me crazy. So these are all the files that are already in. Every time you load a file into your Moodle, it comes into your filing system. So these are all the things that I've already loaded into the image. Here are all the files. So if I already had it here, I could just simply click one here. So if I already knew this is the image I wanted, I could just click there, and boom, it's going to put that image in there. But let's say you haven't loaded that file up. So what you really want to do is you actually want to look at your computer and bring an image in that's a file. So I'm going to bring my little domo in. Okay? So I'm going to browse my computer, and then I got to tell the Moodle that I want to upload this file. And now that is now in my list. So now you click on that, put your little letter in here, and you say OK. So same, a little bit more of a process. It's not just straight URL, but it is basically the same idea. You still use this. It's just depending on if you're going to get the file, then you have to browse your computer and find it. Or if it's just URL, you just put the URL in. So that's going to be completely up to you. Now, and you can do the same thing for, let's say, a Word document. So let's say, even though it looks like an image, I know that's a little confusing, but let's say I wanted to bring in a document. So, oops, I'm not sure why it's been doing that to me all day. So I'm not sure what this is. Oh, it's my contract for this professional development. That seems appropriate. So I'm going to say open, and I'm going to say upload that. And there it is. Oh, so we're just going to click this. We're going to say this. We're just going to click this and say OK. Oh, you got to double click it. Oh, all right. It's making me be a fool. All right, so I take that back. So we're going to cancel that. Okay, so let's start over. Let's say that you are going to do a file. You are actually going to link your file. So if I wanted to do Herbie document, sorry about that. I do this so often sometimes I forget. I don't even pay attention to how things are done. But okay, so if you actually want to do a file, you want to go ahead and name your file, and then you link. But it's still the sort of the same concept. You're not linking to a URL. I actually want to browse my computer and find that file again. So it looks the same. That's why I get confused. It looks the same. So there's that file I want. I'm going to say open. I'm going to say upload that file because that's what I want. And the reason it's a link is because it's really linking to the file within your Moodle course. And so that can be a little confusing to people. The link is not always just a URL. It also links to your files. So that's where people kind of tend to get confused. So now it's there. It's going to like me now because see, it's just internally linking it. I don't change this window because really it's just going to download onto their computer, and I'll show you what I mean. So you can actually hand out anything you want on a Moodle. So this is a link to a URL. These are pictures. This is an image with a URL. This is an image with a file. And then here's an actual Word document. So I'm going to go ahead and save changes down here. I'm going to say save and display. And it looks a mess, but you would flex with that. And I just want to show you how all these things work. So here would be that link going open into a new tab. So it opened to a new tab here, but the course is still right here. And then this document now is going to come down as a downloadable file onto that person, onto your students or whoever's computer. So that was just a real quick way to show you how to you guys got to get in here and play. You cannot break Moodle. It does take time just to sort of get used to everything. Let me update the source and let me just review very quickly. You put the name of your course. You do not have to put anything here. You can use your headings, your color. You can use I like to separate things with lines a lot, just for separation. You can type anything you want. You can copy and paste. Be careful about copying and pasting from Word, though. You may want to do it from a Google Doc. You can upload images using a URL, and that's how you would do. You still use the image. Or you can upload an image using a file, but it's still the image. It's just you go down to the browse button. If you want to do a link, you have to highlight the words and then link either to the website, or if you actually really are just actually creating a link to a document, it's the same process. Create your words, highlight, link, but then you got to bring the file into Moodle. I know that sounds really confusing, and really the only thing I can say is just that you got to curl up with a bowl of popcorn on a Sunday afternoon and just play, play, play until you get the hang of it, because that's really what I did. All right, good luck. It's a lot easier once you get the hang of it, I promise.